Magic. So, Magic is a bit average. She does get White Destruction Beam, but I believe it requires a bit of investment in her affection, and that will take up a lot of needed resources. And you get her fairly late in the recruitment chain, so being a mage doesn't really help for her speed wise, but White Destruction Beam makes her somewhat more useful than Rizna, um, and that's that. Kohime, due to various events in the true history, true root, whatever you call it, Kohime is automatically recruited every run. She is a guarder. Unfortunately, you really can't let her die in battle, much like Rance, and that basically means you will probably never ever have her see the light of day. And her stats are fairly low. However, she becomes fairly useful thanks to the battle permits. Kohime has a very high troop count, and more likely than not, you probably won't need to spend that much money to get her troop count to 1,000 and make her eligible for battle permit usage. So, I would definitely recommend using her for that, but not much else. Torin. So Torin is one of the Takada commanders, and I believe he's the only one that's recruitable in the first run. Torin actually gets a spot on the A tier because, really, um, not only is he a tactician that has very good stats both in combat and out of combat. I think he has like 6 or 7 in everything. Um, really, the thing that makes Torin better than other tacticians is the fact that he has the the ability to shift the battlefield in your favor. Um, that ability basically makes it a lot easier to win very difficult fights if the terrain bonuses against you, such as certain castle fights in the Hojo territory or in Chico Calamity. Yeah, you can't go wrong with him. His only downside is that you do need to take out the Takada before they're taken out by the Demon Army, and that's not easy to have happen. Speaking of Takada, though, you're not going to get the other commanders on a first playthrough. That's just not possible. The events that requires you to take them out, um, or that makes them recruitable is just simply not accessible. While you may have the ability to defend against Takada Blitz on a first playthrough, you're not going to be able to have access to the event that actually takes out Shingen. Very unfortunate. Kentaro. So Ogata Kentaro is the other sword user or samurai that, much like Rance, he has a level cap of 99, and he does have specific events that boost his levels by 5 per event, and I think he has access to 3 or 4 of them. Um, so as you're conquering more territories, be sure to pick up those events, and he'll be fairly useful for the final fights and for dungeon fights. Kento's only main issue is that he starts off very, very weak, and until he becomes a fiend or a Majin or a Dark Lord, um, he is just very much a middling samurai. But once you get past the events that turn him into the fiend, he becomes one of the more useful members of your army because now he can basically get rid of all of his own troops and survive one troop and automatically win defensive fights for you. Alone is extremely useful, but you'll also find that he's very useful in dungeon fights as well. Kochika Yamanaka, yeah, you're extremely unlikely to get her. You basically have to do a series of events, witness a series of events regarding her family, and then, or regarding her getting revenge on Mori, sorry. and then you also have to beat Mori yourself, and that's generally not happening on first playthrough. Um, it's a little unfortunate. Ho Soju Hone. So I'm debating whether or not I'm going to put him in the you probably won't get him tier, but the way to get him in the first playthrough is to actually conquer all the way east to get him. I think I'm going to put him in the you won't get him tier because not only do you have to do that, but you also have to get to the oil dungeon in time after recruiting Ran, and that's I feel like that's a bit wasteful because you would have to recruit Ran. You would have to first of all defeat the Hojo clan, recruit Ran, and then go into the oil fields dungeon, and then conquer enough to get to where Houn is. So that's also very unfortunate. Speaking of Hojo, Rand is not available on the first playthrough. Sorry, explody splody. Um, Daidoji Komatsu. So Komatsu is fairly middling, but she does have an ability to recruit 10 units or yeah, 10 troops per turn, just for herself. And free troops are nice. However, enemies do scale with your troop count, which limits that usefulness, the usefulness of that ability. Um, Komatsu also gives satisfaction depending on if you leave her in prison long enough. But other than that, I don't really see much of use to her. She's definitely easier to get than Zone because of you basically capture her if you conquer the Hojo territory. So there's that, but really you're likely not going to use her much. Masamune, you're likely not going to get in first turn. I believe that requires uh, it requires conquering all of the One-Eyed House and or Dokugan Ryu, but you're not gonna do that on the first playthrough. No, extremely unlikely. Same with Omachi. Really, the prerequisites for her are way too much. Yeah, very unlikely gonna happen. Yeah, I believe you will not recruit Nokiku because she also requires Akashi and Kajimaru, and Kajimaru is a terrible commander and is also on the other side of Japan. So you're very unlikely to get her. Noir is extremely useful, way more useful than most other samurai, since she has innate healing. However, she has no out of battle prowess and would be kinda is virtually useless outside of battle. Um, yeah, Ninja Girl. Oh, jeez, my throat. Hope that's not Corona. Ninja Ninja Monster Girl is all right. She has no, like the others. She has no out of combat ability, and the entire Shimazu clan is out of reach on the first playthrough. So yeah, good luck using all the commanders that you do have access to. You half of your army will be filled with generics or the recruitment that you can, uh, or the event recruited semi-generics. And I guess I could go over those in another video, but I don't really feel like it. You can figure out what's good or what's not based on this, I hope. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.